Here in the majestic frozen wastes, the march of the penguins begins once more. They know they must take Stalingrad with only light flipper armaments before their supplies run short and they are forced to eat cold Pop-Tarts. Star of the Black Hole, Disney's answer to Star Wars until they realised a better answer was just to buy Star Wars and pretend the Black Hole never happened.
The what never happened? I'm not wearing my glasses today. Please tell me that says Clint. Joseph Stefano?
To me, he'll always be the man who killed Denise Crosby.
I keep telling you, Ian, he only killed the character she played on Next Generation. I don't think you'll ever get a conviction based on that.
In the TV movie, Cameraman is a timid creature who rarely ventures out into the open.
I think we just switched to monster POV.
Is that a new flavour? I don't know why they bother. People only buy it to stay awake anyway.
They always have a big spike in sales whenever someone tries to watch one of our riffs.
I will not let you say that, Matthew. I'll let the people on the internet say it about you. You shock me.
With my admission I've never been skiing?
No, mainly by what you're doing with your hand.
Oh, sorry.
I said I was shocked. I didn't say stop.
Wow, that noise really creeped me out, Susan, but it's good to know I can always rely on you to come back here, you bitch!
The death of Olivia Newton-John!
She was the one that he wanted.
Bloody Disney gets everywhere. Don't look into the camera, you say? Well, you should have used actors instead of stock footage then.
This is the whitest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, there is a lot of snow.
Yeah, that too.
Hail to the Queen!
You could still have a real queen if you hadn't been so standoffish, America.
Yeah, I believe they still celebrate Standoffishness Day every 4th of July.
They celebrate it every day. They're just too reserved to mention it.
Can I help you, Buster? Come on, Charlie. No.
A peek inside DMV training headquarters.
The manager takes care of big problems, which we don't have at Real Lodge.
No big problems here, Grandma.
Not now you've been identified as the source of the gonorrhea outbreak. Nah, I think all we need is a couple of seconds just to establish that they're going from one point to another, and then they'll cut. Any second now. No, now. Now, holy crap.
Only another 3 or 4 miles to go. You know, this must be the longest snowmobiling sequence since records began.
Something pretty amazing must have happened the day before records began for them to start taking notes.
Sadly, we have no way of knowing what it was.
And it's got Jennifer, and all anybody's doing around here is staring at me like I'm crazy.
Nobody thinks you're crazy.
Not job.
Don't ask me to. Please, I can't.
The Olsen twins said the same thing about Fuller House.
Okay.
We passed an old barn, off by itself, near a stream.
Good girl.
I've passed some things in my time, but nothing as big as a barn.
Take her down to the lodge. Split up, see what we can find. We'll meet back at the lodge in a half hour. Let's go.
If you should happen to spot a severed head as you ski, try to snag it on your pole. We'll take it back to Heidi for identification. This must be the longest skiing sequence since records began.
Something pretty amazing must have happened the day before records began for them to start taking notes.
Sadly, we have no way of knowing what it was.
When does a callback just become repetition?
Pardon?
When does I can't believe we've just done that. So, will they be adding SNOWBEAST to the Dark Universe movies?
Oh, didn't you hear? They cancelled the whole series after The Mummy performed so badly at the box office. But they're going to relaunch it with a whole new range of monsters. Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, Anthony Weiner, Bill O'Reilly, Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K. The list goes on. Roy Moore, Charlie Rose, Bill Cosby. The list goes on and on and on. Seriously, what's wrong with society?
If that's not a warning against drinking while pregnant, I don't know what is. When you've been through that kind of meet the fuckerization, you drink to forget.
That's just great. Well, thank you.
Now I have to get back to Hobbit Town while my girlfriend Sarah Silverman has a busy afternoon saying vagina ahead of her.
Coming?
No, just breathing heavily.
I don't think you recognize it.
Yeah, an 8-foot-tall blonde Swede in a polo neck is easy to overlook.
This wasn't an animal. And it wasn't human either.
YouTube celebrities are quite hard to categorise.
Oh, it's a fine time to have a panic, just before our winter carnival.
We have to keep
I'm
the
not
beaches
hiding
open.
anything.
No, wait, I mean...
There's something very strange and very dangerous out there.
And it goes by the name of
And
Logan
if I thought it
Paul.
would- And what do you tell Jennifer's parents?
Tony, I'm not being insensitive.
But screw her.
Bodies do disappear in avalanches, you know.
Just ask Rock Hudson and
Forgetting
Mia
about
Farrow.
Heidi?
Ideally, I prefer it if both your wife and my grandmother didn't both look like Barbara Hale at different stages of her life, but I'm prepared to make do with what's available.
I want the area posted. You get a hold of Ben Cochran in maintenance. You tell him to get ready to put a lot of signs up there.
And if Ben gets eaten while posting them, so be it.
How do you want the signs to read?
Signs can't read. If I was putting up a warning sign, I would have gone with year-long Tyler Perry Film Festival beyond this point. By comparison, death by SNOWBEAST might actually be preferable. Look, I'm not Hitler. I don't even know where the hell Tila Tequila gets off praising a man who knew so little about pomology.
I think skiing must be one of those things that's more fun to do than to watch.
Yeah, I've heard something similar said about Denise Richards. I mean, that's where the real skill is. There's no great ability in plummeting downwards at speed. Just ask Nicolas Cage's career.
I blame the bees.
No, not the bees. Not the bees. Right now I'm reading the whole of the internet.
How is it?
Enlightening, actually. Apparently Hitler survived the Second World War and now spends all his time visiting comment sections.
Your imagination is a sick and devious place.
You know what? That's word for word what Halle Berry's lawyer said. Okay, well, downwards was the direction he wanted to go anyway, so I don't see he has anything to complain about. There are times when a 5-minute skiing montage just isn't worth it. Like, every single time.
Not since Sarah Jane Smith in The Five Doctors has anyone rolled down such a slight incline.
Oh, John Pertwee, why have you forsaken me? And could you ask your son, Alfred the Butler, if Gotham is ever going to get good? I talk to the trees.
But they don't listen to you?
Most of the time they just say, uh-huh. So I feel they're not really invested in what I have to say.
Childhood innocence shattered in 5, 4, 3, 2...
Inside. The water
He sprouted those antlers very quickly.
Yeah, he's obviously going through a growth spurt.
Stay here, son, and don't talk to any strangers who want you to guide their sleigh tonight. The bank's foreclosed on Santa's workshop. It's nothing but a hollow shell now.
Sounds like the same thing must have happened to Johnny Depp.
Oh my.
Someone put hot sauce on the arm I was saving for lunch. I can't eat that now.
Cannibal Dad will return after these messages.
Okay, hold on, right there.
Would it have been easier to drive closer and strike up a conversation instead of stating your intentions first?
Mountain folk have curious ways.
Some ski patroller wants to talk to you.
Well, get him to say so from a distance, and then ski over here and we can gradually begin to talk.
Tea.
What is it, Tommy?
It's an infusion of hot water and dried leaves, often served with milk and sugar, but that's not important right now.
Well, I only get 2 weeks off a year, you know, and I had my heart set on a warm climate.
God knows I'm frigid enough as it is.
Reality is the problem.
Especially for Alex Jones.
And I've lost about all the respect I ever had for him.
Are they just cutting and pasting Ellen's dialogue from Airplane at this point?
Surely you can't be serious.
Hackety hack.
Wait a minute. You need to have someone say he loves you. And I do, you know. I always have.
And while it seems inexplicable, why shouldn't two unappealing people attract each other exactly as much as they repel everyone else? Which Duke of Hazzard am I again?
Meet me in an hour at the swimming pool, okay?
And no piddling in the shallow end, which is either end as far as you're concerned.
Sheriff Fat Bruce Campbell reflects on a job well done. My bitch and sideburns sense danger.
Helen did a special on the Bigfoot controversy.
The
So she
Bigfoot
traveled
controversy?
all over the
Yeah,
country.
he won the Bigfoot Electoral
Interviewed
College,
dozens
but he
of
didn't get the
people who
Bigfoot
supposedly had
popular
seen
vote.
them.
It was a whole thing.
I found her jacket the other day. It looked like it'd been ripped off her body and it was blood-stained, and I believe that thing killed her.
But I don't want to cause a panic, so I'm yelling it as quietly as possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prince!
I hate you so much right now.
Yeah, but only because of who I am and everything I do.
Yeah, true.
The following messages are brought to you by the campaign to re-elect Jimmy Carter.
Well, obviously not a lot of enthusiasm for that.
Tony and Gar were very much the Bodie and Johnny Utah of their day.
What day was that?
I think it was a Thursday.
I never could get the hang of Thursdays.
I honestly didn't think we'd run out of Monty Python references and have to move on to Hitchhiker's Guide quite this early. Just makes me so mad.
Me too. In fact, I wish to register a complaint.
Where?
Wolf!
Oh, that's no good. We're looking for a snow.
Beast! If Elton John were there, he'd never let the sun go down on her.
Well, judging by her sour expression, I don't think anything has in quite some time.
I must have seen her somewhere. Maybe I'll recognize her when I see her face.
You're standing in it.
Cole, it's not a grizzly.
That was a different
What do
movie.
you think it is?
Ellen kind of reminds me of Tonya Harding in a way.
Yeah, Tonya Harding was a skater, not a skier.
Yeah, I just mean that you know Ellen will break your kneecaps if you so much as looked at her funny.
Yeah, you might have a point there.
There must be some way I can make this a man's fault.
The less people that get in its way, the more of us are going to stay alive.
The fewer. Seeing a body torn limb from limb is no excuse for a lapse in grammar. That is so Filmation fight music. I'm expecting a surprisingly buff DeForest Kelly to run past now.
Ellen was bottom ranked at ski school, you know.
Oh, you mean she wasn't very good?
Oh no, she was very good. She was just bottom ranked. And the Virgin will sacrifice to appease the Snow Beast will sit here. Fun fact, this place is twinned with the town from the Creeping Terror. Mr. B Natural will be so proud of each and every one of them.
Monster! Oh, it's just Gar again.
Are they playing Rule Britannia in our honour, Ian?
It depends on whether they're spelling honour with a U or not. If they're not, they're just doing it ironically, I think.
Bloody hipsters.
They went very dark with this new season of Supergirl.
She was never the same after being forced Clockwork Orange style to watch the Justice League movie. Hey, it just occurred to me I haven't been called a gargantuan embarrassment to my gender or inadequate in every sense for hours. What the hell happened to my wife?
Have I established to the viewer's satisfaction what it is skis are used for? Nope, apparently not.
From here on in, the film is just this. Gar considering a pair of skis mixed with stock footage from the Winter Olympics. Powers, activate!
How does he even know where to go? Is he finding Ellen's scat?
Traces of resentment and withholding of physical intimacy. It's either her or Melania Trump. You know she had her eggs frozen.
So she could pursue a career in TV journalism?
No, it just happened naturally.
I should have told you a long time ago why I never skied after 68.
I don't think anyone should ski after 68. Your bones are far too
I
fragile.
saw too many champions. I didn't want to be a has-been.
Best way to avoid that is never achieve anything, I find.
Works for me.
He is very tall for his height, isn't he?
Size doesn't count. Neither can he, coincidentally.
Sadly for Gar, the sun was the only thing that rose that day.
What about the chopper?
Just move on.
I've just had a text from Mike, Kevin and Bill saying, remember to reference Blue Thunder or possibly Airwolf, even we've forgotten at this point.
It's weird they should all have the same phone.
They're very, very close. That's what makes them such a successful riffing team.
Will you at least buy a watchtower? Supervisor standing right behind me. And now, a word from our sponsor, SNOWBEAST Chewable Aspirin.
Ask your doctor if being torn limb from limb by a Sasquatch is right for you.
And so we bid farewell to this half of Terry. Additional services will be held further up the mountain, the more of him we discover.
As well as the rest of us.
It was good of George Lucas to show up for this.
Yeah, the SNOWBEAST is actually a wamper that got loose from the Skywalker Ranch.
So we came very close to this movie being about a rampaging Howard the Duck, or Tony Clifton, Betty White and J.J. Abrams look on in despair.
Looks like Ellen came in a dressing gown.
I could relate to that. Got to a point where I couldn't even open mine.
Something came charging out of that brush at me, and it wasn't human.
Dick Cheney tried the same defense when he shot that guy in the face.
Well, I think we've done as much as we can possibly do on this movie now, so it's time to hand over to Bridget and Mary Jo.
No, we can't do that.
Why not?
That was just a one-time thing.
Frank and Trace, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not happening, Ian. Just let it go. I don't have to sit here and take this kind of abuse, you know. I've got options. I have Bees McKeever on speed dial.
Yeah, do you though?
No. What's really needed here is a professor in Boggy Creek Studies. The two disciplines are probably quite similar. I keep feeling like the narrator of Buffalo Rider should show up and tell me about the misadventures of a raccoon named Bandit.
Oh, bloody hell. No, this again, I'm sick. Look, nothing looks that way through the documents. I was prepared to put it with a wintry Bigfoot and an implausible love triangle involving a giant frigid elf and someone who's probably born wearing a jean jacket, but this is taking things too far now!
I'm more concerned with the implication that the SNOWBEAST has made off with all their rifles. I mean, he's armed, he's a cunning strategist, he lives in the woods. Is this a Unabomber origin story?
I found a gun! I used it!
That's how the NRA think the Second Amendment should read.
Gar now represents the epitome of blonde ambition. Unfortunately, that ambition is to one day star in Wizards of the Lost Kingdom. The last season of Parks and Recreations went in a really strange direction.
Old bullets fall out and are lost in the snow forever. So, when they cast this movie, did they hire actors who couldn't ski or skiers who couldn't act?
Yes.
What's the plural of Bigfoot? Anyway, is it Bigfoots or Big Feet?
Yes. It's beginning to look a lot like murder.
Beautiful. You know, you could give lessons to tuning forks.
Hey, what I don't know about singing is how to do it, essentially.
The Cowardly Lion got locked in a walk-in freezer. Unlike Dorothy, he missed the lion most of all.
So, all these current concerns about immigration, and in the end, it takes a poll to get the job done.
I see what you did there.
I like to think our work has redeeming social value as well as knob gags. They're easier to pull off.
Not in this weather.
No, perhaps I was a little premature.